Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Pause the video right now to check out my social media, my radio show, and thatdrummerguy.com. And most of all, enjoy the following presentation.
Is this Josh?
Yes, it is.
This is Zetro.
Hey, how's it going?
What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for taking the time to do this interview.
No problem, brother. No problem. Pleasure's all mine.
Oh, awesome. Well, of course, we're here to talk about the brand new tour that's going to be coming up with Exodus, Obituary, Power Trip, and Dust Bolt, the Battle of the Bays American Tour, which starts in early September.
September 14th, I believe, in North Carolina. I think in Greensboro, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, right in there. And, you know, it's such a great collection of bands, and it's just such a great, awesome tour to see towards the end of the year.
Good metal. Good bevy of that. I mean, you know, we're classic thrash metal, Obituary's classic death metal, and Dust Bolt and Power Trip are the up-and-comers. So I think it has a good bevy, I guess I would say, of draw for metal bands for sure.
Yeah, and I love that all four bands do not sound like each other either. I mean, when you go to a show like this, you're going to be getting four very different styles of metal, but it all fits together so very well.
I think if it's heavy, it always works together, you know. As long as it's heavy, it all goes along strain.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't get much heavier than a tour with Exodus and Obituary, but, you know, like having bands like Power Trip and Dust Bolt on there, too. I mean, that's such great openers for two legendary bands like yourselves and Obituary.
Well, I think Power Trip's definitely up-and-comer, heavy hitter, and Dust Bolt has shown over the last couple of years that they can hold their own. They actually, we were in Europe in June earlier, just a couple of months ago, and Dust Bolt opened some headliners for us. So they're a credible band. They kick ass.
Yeah, definitely. And it's going to be hitting my neck of the woods, too, at the end of September. It's going to be coming to Minneapolis, and I'm definitely going to be there because there's no way I can miss a show like this.
Nice, nice. Be looking forward for you, seeing you and all of your friends in the pit, of course.
Oh, absolutely. So, of course, you guys are still out and promoting the latest album, which it's great to see you back with Exodus with Blood In and Blood Out. Now, with the album being out for about 3 years now, how are you feeling about the album?
We're writing right now. I mean, you know, we obviously have to pay attention to Slayer's schedule because our main guy kind of plays in Slayer, so we have to pay attention to that. But I think they're coming to a bit of an end where he's going to have some time, and he's already gotten together with Tom in the early part of this year and put some songs together, so it's definitely there. We're looking probably November, December, January, something like that to get in the studio.
Oh, very cool. So with that in mind, I mean, once everyone gets together with the riffs and everything, when it comes to what you do you already have lyrics in mind, or do you wait until you hear the riffs until you get the ideas rolling?
Always wait till I hear the riffs. Always words to music. I think it's always worked better for me that way. And this gives Gary a good chance to listen to the song musically and know what direction lyrically he wants to go. And so even though I may write the lyrics, he may come up with the idea.
Yeah, and that's a really great approach to that, too. I'm glad to see that you guys are able to, after all this time, still wanting to get together and write the riffs, rather than just, like, focusing on technology and sending riffs and ideas to each other, but just getting together and actually writing those songs together.
Well, you know, that's good, too. That's also a plus, because, like, when he's out with Slayer, then he can continue to write and still have a drum machine at his end, you know, and he can send us songs. But I've always felt that the only way to do it is to get 5 guys in a room and bang it out, sweat it out. I think that's how you create the best songs. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, not to say that there can't be good songs that are written through technology, just like sending riffs to each other, but, you know,
that's true.
Yeah, just getting that old school mentality of just, like, being in the same room together, hashing out those songs, seeing what everyone else in the band can bring to the table when it comes to those songs always makes a better song, in my opinion.
We actually wrote Fabulous Disaster like that. We had come off the tour from Pleasures of the Flesh. This was probably back in '88. And the summer of '88, we just spent in a studio every day from about 11 a.m. in the morning till about 6 or 7 at night, and just went there and wrote Fabulous. And it took about about 5 weeks that we had written the song. I think we're probably going to do the same thing this time, because we're kind of, we've always got to worry about what Gary's schedule is going to be like for sure. So we want to utilize the time while we have it. So I see a lot of those days coming up soon, which I welcome completely, man. I love it to work like that.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see that happening as well, because, last time I got to see you guys was opening for King Diamond, and it was a great experience to be able to see you guys. I know Gary was out with Slayer, but it was great to seeing you guys in St. Paul at the Myth opening for King Diamond, and it was so great to see that lineup together and just like hearing those classic songs again. And with Blood In, Blood Out being such a fantastic album, I can't wait to see what's going to happen with the next one.
Well, I've actually have some songs that I've been sent through, that we've actually, him and Tom put together, and so they kind of pre-recorded them, and I just, like I've said before, it's going to be very evil. It's very evil.
Oh, I definitely love the sound of that already. I mean, that's what I noticed you guys like when you do have like those dark, evil, heavy, angry riffs and lyrics going on. Those always tend to be my favorite Exodus songs.
I think that the sheer violence is what creates the great Exodus songs. So those are the parts that I always love too, the chuggy parts where you just feel like you're going to get in and start slamming. So yeah, I'd have to say from what I've heard so far, and again, we're still cooking them up, I'd say evil is a good way to put it.
Oh, so cool. So getting back a little bit into the tour, have you guys been working on what songs you guys want to play live for this upcoming tour?
Well, you know what? We'll get together next week and rehearse right before we go out, and that's when it's going to get decided. So I couldn't tell you. But, I mean, I'm ready for whatever. I'm sure it'll be a good bit of Bonded, Fabulous, Pleasures, Tempo, some Rob Dutzera songs in there. I love to sing those songs. So, I know it's an hour. It's an hour set, so I'm sure an hour is enough time just to kick your ass, my man.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm not sure if I can have any influence or anything or not, but as long as there's one song from Tempo of the Damned being my favorite Exodus album, I'll be very happy with the set.
Oh, I'm sure you'll hear Wars My Shepherd or Blacklist or something like that. I'm sure there'll be something thrown in there from Tempo, for sure. We love Tempo, too.
Oh, that's so cool. And yeah, I mean, it's so great to see that you guys are getting an hour set with Obituary. I mean, both of you guys are, like legendary in your styles of music, and it's great to see that you guys can each take an hour and be able to show off what you guys are capable of from both sides of the country.
We've actually done this. We did it in Europe last year in October and November, and it was so successful. After the end of the tour, let's do this in the States next year. So we did. I didn't think it was going to take almost a year to get it done, but at least they got it done, and it's here we are. It's lined up. I saw the dates already. We're getting ready to go. So excited, very much so.
Yeah, it's definitely worth the wait. I mean, with such heaviness from all sides and everything. I mean, just the fact of like getting to see you guys on such a big stage again, just like tearing up North America, after having a great run through Europe. I mean, I'm glad to see that this tour is hitting North America, and I just can't wait for it to crush.
Yeah, I think I think we have a really good relationship with like Obituary and Cannibal Corpse and Hate Breed and bands of that nature. Those are our brothers. Suicidal, guys like that. So we like to keep, like tour together, and at this point the bands are pretty much considered legendary at this point, and it's always kind of cool to intertwine the legendary bands together,
Oh yeah, and it never feels like it's a nostalgia act or a legacy act or anything like that. I mean, with the music that you guys have been continuing to produce, like Obituary's self-titled album that came out this year is easily one of my favorite albums of the year so far.
It's a great record. Awesome. It's so heavy.
Yeah, I mean, with both of you guys together, I mean, you guys are showing that you are still as relevant as ever and just kicking so much ass. And that's why I'm so excited for the new Exodus album when that does come out, because I know that fire is still in the band, and I know some of the best material you guys have is still coming up in the future.
Yeah, we're not end up doing subpar music, and we know that our fans are not stupid, especially out of any type of music fan in the world. You know as well as I do, the heavy metal fan is very intelligent, and he knows if you're trying to pull one over on him, And I don't think, for the credit of any of the thrash bands, and that goes for Overkill, Megadeth, Anthrax, Slayer, us, Sodom, Creator, Testament, even Metallica. Everybody's putting out quality stuff. You know, they're not. It's 30-something years later, and people are still putting out the same brutality that they put back in the same ferocity back in the day. I don't think it's a rehash ever. Like I said, this record, from what I hear musically so far, is definitely going to differ from Blood In, Blood Out. I feel that it's just, the word is evil when I hear the songs so far, and they don't even have lyrics yet. It's just, the music is very evil.
And speaking of that, you know, with all the great legendary bands still putting out some of their best material to date right now, how are you feeling about, like, the newer trends of metal? Like, the bands that are just, like, up and coming, you know, like Power Trip and Dust Bolt, for example. I mean, just, like, absolutely tearing it
Havoc,
up.
Hatred, Toxic Holocaust, oh yeah, all those killer bands. Hatchet, there's a lot of good new thrash bands coming up. Municipal Waste, you know, I think that the genre will only survive if it stays like that. It will only stay relevant if there are the new bands coming up. And if, you know, the older bands are still putting out quality stuff, that sets the precedent for the newer bands to keep putting out good stuff and always writing good songs. When they always ask me, Zetro, what's the key, man? You guys have been around so long. What do I do? And I tell them, just write good songs. Just keep writing good songs, and the fans will always be there for you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, just, like, writing good songs and sticking to your guns as well. I mean, never feeling like you have to sell out to get, like, a top hit on the radio or something like that. You know, just, like, staying true to yourself and knowing what the fan base is about. As long as you can write good songs in that style and you're happy with them, you got a successful band.
Yeah, I think especially at the point in our career that we're very fortunate to have the following that we have, and the continuing following from our fans. I mean, we've done VIP meet and greets where we've had a grandfather, father, son team of, you know, fans, 3 generations of Exodus fans, which is amazing. So we want to keep that. We want to keep that flag flying, and keep, obviously, the young kids that we see in the crowd, you know, 5 to 15, when they're on their dad's shoulders with headphones and they got their battle jackets on. Man, we love to see that shit. That shit is what's going to create, you know, more metal for the future.
Yeah, I can't imagine a better feeling for you guys. I mean, when you do when you play something like Toxic Waltz or something like that, and you just see, like, an up-and-coming kid who's just, like, getting in the metal, or, like you said, like, parents bringing their kids into it, and they're just discovering, like, this legendary band like Exodus, and, like, discovering all these songs from years past and what you guys are up to now. That's got to be such a great feeling.
Yeah, that's good. It's when we look out in the crowd and we see that, we know that the future's got a promise for us. So, it's not going to die out with the old fucking gray-haired farts like us, you know what I mean? It's going to keep going.
And speaking of that, when you do get to talk to the fans, like, of the younger crowd, like, what do they tell you is more of their favorite parts of, like, Exodus? Like, the brand new stuff, or the beginning of the band, or have you heard anything about that?
You know, sometimes they say they like it all. They like all the, you know, I always hear, I'm glad you're back with the band, funny. I always hear that every night. I'm glad you're back, and I love to hear that. But I think it's, you know, as long as it's a good blend of what we do, you know, and a good blend. You have 10 records. How do you fulfill an hour set with 10 albums, you know? It's over 100 songs. So that's the rough part.
Oh, yeah, and especially with the longer Exodus songs, too. I mean, if you throw those into the set, then you got to cut other shorter ones out, and it's really hard to be able to...
We talk about that. We know that. Like, you know, there's a lot of... In the Rob Dukes era's albums, the songs were very long, you know, 9, 10, 11 minutes, opposed to when I, you know, was there maybe 5, 6 minutes, 4 minutes, but I love those long songs. So when we get a set like this, we have to be aware of that one of those songs will take up the place of maybe 3 others.
And it is good to have that variety, too. I mean, just like you were talking about, with so many songs, so many albums. I mean, it's great to see that you guys do want to cover as much ground as you can, especially when you're just given 60 minutes.
Yeah. No, you do. When you get 60 minutes, you try to hit all the corners the best you can, you know. It's not like you're going to stay with Blood In, Blood Out too long, or try to go with Bonded by Blood too long. You try to give it a good blend. When I think that, I'm sure the set will show that.
Yeah, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. Like I said, I believe it's September 30th you guys are going to be hitting up Minneapolis, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what you guys have in store. I mean, with you and Obituary and Power Trip and Dust Bolts, I mean, it's just going to be such a great night of metal, and it's great to see that this tour is happening in North America.
It's epic. It's epic, and go to Exodus Attack /Facebook, go to Obituary /Facebook, or, you know, Power Trip or Dust Bolt, and check out, you know, where we're going to be, and check out the VIP packages, and see what's going to be going on. Maybe you can catch a couple of shows. I don't know. I heard a couple of them are close back east, so some fans have already hit me up. Yeah, I'm going to go to this one. I'm going to go to that one. It's only a 2 hour. I'm like, oh, great. So we'd love to see that.
Yeah, and that's going to be really easy on you guys, too, especially when you're hitting up the East Coast as opposed to the West Coast, like just having to drive a couple hours rather than having to drive 2 or 2.5 days to the next show.
Yeah, welcome to Europe, my friend. Welcome to Europe.
Oh, that again, you know, it's just it's so cool that you guys are able to do this, and it's such a great tour to see as well. And I'm just so very excited about it, and I'm glad to see that you're so excited about it too, because I need my Exodus fix. It's been too long since I've seen you guys.
I need my Exodus fix. We've been kind of sparingly on tour this year, trying to write material, so we haven't really stabbed at it. We've done. We did a couple shows with King Diamond. We did a show with Iron Maiden. We did some shows, some festivals in the East, in Europe. So did some shows in the Bay Area. So we've kind of just scattered a little bit. So this is going to be a good run with a nice, good, probably 30 plus shows, definitely back to back, and to where we'll get some cities, and everybody will get their Exodus fix, because it's been since King Diamond since we've been out in the States, so it's about time.
And speaking of that, going back a little bit, when you do get those awesome opportunities to open for such great acts like Iron Maiden or King Diamond, how is that for you doing those opening sets compared to a tour upcoming like this with Obituary?
It's easy, because they usually only have to pay for 30 minutes. So after 6 songs, you're already done, kind of. You know, and it's before you've even started, you're already finished. You're already in catering, having dinner after you have to the set. Normally, Exodus set, if I do a headliner, it's 90 minutes, brutal, you know. So here it's like 6 songs. What, we're already at Toxic Waltz? No way. Hot. So it's kind of cool. And it's always awesome to play with guys that are my heroes, like King Diamond and Iron Maiden. So, you know, it comes full circle.
Yeah, and it's great to see that you guys can adapt like that. I mean, whether it is like a half-hour set, 45-minute sets, or a full-blown 90-minute sets. I mean, the fact that you guys are that prepared, that you can have those songs ready to go and be able to tour like that, I mean, it really shows what you guys are capable of.
I hope so. I hope after all this time that we've been doing this, man, you can bring it up. I remember the lyrics to almost everything, even songs we haven't done in a long time. I can remember the lyrics. I don't know. I just think it's part of my craft to do so.
Well, that shows the quality of a great song, too, when you are able to remember the lyrics like that. I mean, if it was something you weren't very proud of, you might not remember it as much, but when you are proud of what you do... Yeah, I like my
stuff. I'm pretty proud of my stuff. I always remember, anything off of Bonded. I wasn't even in the band at that time. That was such a classic album. Pretty much anything, if they say, hey, man, we want to play this song, it's like, oh, okay. I might have to read the lyrics once or twice, but it always comes back to me. I keep a pretty good Rolodex on that stuff.
And when it comes to that, I mean, what are some of your favorite songs to be able to play live? Like, do you like playing the staples more, or do you like playing those lesser cuts more?
You know what? I don't mind playing deep cuts every once in a while, but it's fun to watch the crowd have such a good time with the staples. I mean, they do. They love Blacklist. They love Toxic Waltz. They love Bonded by Blood. They love Strike of the Beast. They love The Lesson in Violence. They love Piranha. They love Blacklist, man. They love War's My Shepherd. So it's, you know, it's great to play all those songs, and you know, they know what they're getting. They know they're going to get, you know, whatever time we have up there, it's going to be kick them in the face, for sure.
And that is so refreshing to hear on my end, because there are a lot of bands that do get tired of the songs that become their biggest hits. But when it comes to you, it's great to see that the biggest Exodus songs are the ones that are getting you the most excited because of that crowd reaction. It's always going to be different every show, and it's always going to be exciting like that.
You know what's funny is we did a couple of festivals a couple of years ago. And we were on a festival with Papa Roach, and I love Jacoby. He's a really, really good guy. And they're actually Bay Area boys as well. And I said, do you ever get tired of playing Last Resort? And he goes, no, never, ever, ever, ever. I know by the last song of the set that the crowd's going to be going nuts if I play that song. I go, yeah. He's all, what about Bonded by Blood? I go, nope, I never get tired of playing Bonded by Blood, ever. The crowd goes ape shit when we play it. So I understand the mentality.
Yeah, it totally makes sense, because the pits are always going to be different every time. The crowd reaction, well, it's always going to be exciting and everything. I mean, it's always going to be so huge. I mean, that live experience is such a great feeling that you can't really get sick of those songs when you're playing them live, because it's always going to be different every night.
Yeah, I think, I look for the brutality every night. That's to see what level of brutality they're at every night, but I never get sick of them, never. It's fun to play.
Oh, awesome. Well, again, just thank you so much for taking all this time to be able to talk to me about everything that's going on in the world of Exodus. And, of course, starting off September 14th, you're doing an amazing tour with Obituary, Power Trip, and Dustbolt. And I'm so excited to be able to see this when it's coming up September 30th in Minneapolis. I just know it's going to be one hell of a show and one hell of a tour. And it's great to hear that you guys are so far into writing mode as well for the next Exodus album. I can't wait to see what's going to be coming up with you guys, and I'm just so happy to see all the success that's going on right now, because you guys absolutely deserve it.
Thanks, my friend. Thanks, that's good to hear. And I guess I will see you in Minneapolis.